right, let's see what you got.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Bloody Disgusting. I am Vanessa, and this evening we are in for a treat. We're here for the Los Angeles premiere of Happy Death Day to You. The first one was full of fun, twisted horror customs while blending them with smart, dark comedy. So needless to say, I'm super excited to see tonight's film. But in the meantime, you guys know the drill. Let's see who we can catch up with on the red carpet first. What's your favorite horror film if you had to pick? Or did you watch any to prepare for your role when you did the first?
I watched American Psycho quite a bit. But what horror films do I enjoy watching? I love the Evil Dead films. There's like that little, you know the scene where he's like laughing and everything's turning with him and he starts going back and forth? That's my favorite.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, really quick, shooting the second one, how was it for you filming as far as different, like the first and the second?
The difference is that there's so many different elements and twists and turns that Chris has added to the film. So Laurie has a different quality to her character. So I got to play and feel out different feels for her.
I love that. I have yet to see the second one, so I feel out of the loop, yet not, but I'm excited to watch you.
So you watch it, and then afterwards we'll meet up and we'll talk again.
All right, it's on.
Musically, it was really fun to like stretch my boundaries even further, and we're doing time travel, we're doing horror, we're doing slasher, we're doing science fiction and comedy and heist and teen drama and like all these different musical styles that had to coexist. So the first time I watched it, I was a little overwhelmed, but excited to dive in. In the first film, there's a very particular sound that represents the baby masked killer. It's like this creepy, high baby, like, well, it's my 3-year-old daughter. But she was trying to get my attention, and I thought, whoa, hold on, let me get the mic. Got her on the mic to make some sounds, and then I stretched them and distorted them and twisted them around and turned them backwards.
Well, it was a mixture of shopping and buying everything and then pulling things from the first movie, and then we created a couple things like Danielle's spirit costume. She's got a little bow that has little babies on it. I designed that fabric.
I love that.
It's sort of a mixture of all those different things. But I did get to create the baby mascot costume in the basketball scene, which is super creepy and kind of disconcerting. It's how do you take this hard plastic baby mask and translate it into foam and like a foam mascot head? So it was a really weird challenge to have, and I think the final product is super creepy. And we gave him this sort of low ride. It looks like he's got a full diaper, and he's got his arms are slightly too long, and so it's just like really unsettling.
And this was only in the second one, correct?
Only in the second one, yeah.
Oh, no, you were quite the comedic relief in the first one. Tell me about how your character has evolved into the second one.
Man, we get to see a lot more than just a rude roommate who doesn't knock and just comes in and blurts out something really crude. But in the second one, you see that you discover that he's actually a brilliant star in a science department. A mad scientist that knows it all, I would say. Yeah, he thinks he knows it all.
I just have to say it's very different than the first. And because it focuses on way more of the sci-fi, multiple dimensional, explaining the loop, there's a lot of differences with the characters. Some are new, some are repeated, and everyone kind of has like a different essence to them. So Danielle is so fun. She definitely still has her sassy, bitchy side, but she has a new element of comedy that the audience really gets to see, and she kind of lets her hair down for a bit and gets really goofy, and it was so fun to play her. So
did you like that one more than number one?
Definitely. I think Chris was able to give me a little bit more of a range with her, given the fact that it is a different dimension, and so I was able to really explore different sides of her, and it was so much fun.
So Happy Death Day, what inspired you?
I was not going to, we were not going to make a sequel. Nobody was talking about a sequel. And then one day this idea popped into my head, and I called Jason BLUM, our producer, and I just pitched it to him, and he freaked out. And so all of us suddenly just felt really compelled to just go for it because it's a truly, am I allowed to swear?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because it's a truly batshit crazy idea. Like, it just should not have been made, but we were like, why not? You know, we've got nothing to lose. So we made a movie.
Was the baby the villain from the jump when you first envisioned?
The baby actually was not the inspiration for the second idea, but he's definitely back. He's very much back. I mean, I'm a horror nut. Like, I was raised. I'm no joke. Like, I started watching horror movies when I was like 5 or 6, like 5 every weekend. So I've seen everything. So like while other kids were watching like Bambi, I was watching I Dismember Mama, and like, so I was in it. So I love the genre, and I hope I get to make a movie in every subgenre. But this one's really cool because I get to kind of jam everything into one movie.
Happy Death Day and Halloween. They may have overlapped a little bit. Yeah, I actually kind of think that they were, actually.
Was it hard juggling the fact that they
Yeah.
were going on at the same time?
We
or
usually,
not?
luckily, our directors do all the work. Yeah, I don't like to go on the set. You know, I'm not a big on-set producer guy. I always tell the directors I'm only on the set if the movie's really in trouble. So hopefully, if you don't see me much, things are going well. If you see me a lot, things aren't so good.
That's what my mom says. No news is good news.
Exactly. No producer is good news.
What sold you on doing a Happy Death Day 2?
Totally Chris. I never thought there would be a sequel to Happy Death Day, but Chris actually had this idea during production. He did not tell me. I really don't think it's a good idea also to make an original movie and think about what the sequel will be. It's hard enough to make a good movie without worrying about what the next installment would be. So I was shocked, but Chris brought us this idea. I loved it, and we made it. Filmmakers. I think that my advice is always to not wait for the business to validate what you want to do, but grab your phone, cast people your own age, shoot it in your studio apartment. Don't make a period, and just make a bunch of shorts. So if you make 20 shorts, the 20th one I guarantee will be better than the first. I love Happy Death Day to you.
You think it might turn into a large franchise?
This movie? I hope so. He has an idea for the 3rd movie. So I hope this does well. And it'd be the first franchise where each installment is like, the first movie is kind of like Groundhog Day, the second movie is kind of like Back to the Future, and the 3rd movie would be like he has a whole pitch for the 3rd movie, which is amazing. I hope we get to make it. You heard it first.
You were just at the Egyptian Theater like 2 nights ago.
Yeah, which was like the theater was totally packed, which I don't know what I was expecting. People like come see the movie, but we had such a fun Q&A, and audiences seemed to really love watching the films back to back, which is how they're intended to be viewed. So it was super cool. The incredible thing about this movie is that it's so funny and there's so much heart, and that's such a huge testament to our director and writer Chris Landon. And so I kind of got to do a lot of everything.
What was your most challenging thing in filming either the first or second one? I actually haven't even seen the second one yet, so I feel out of the loop. But
the most challenging thing, I think, might have been jumping between the scares and the comedy and the heartfelt moments. But we did some pretty crazy stunts, so those were really fun. But everybody had to make sure we were safe. So,
what was your favorite death?
In this one, I jump out of an airplane. I do a little bit of free fall skydiving. So
was that fun?
It was really fun.
Upon this role, did you watch any horror films to get any inspiration for?
I did. Yeah. I mean, for the first one, I watched Groundhog's Day.
Bill Murray's.
Bill Murray's. We watched Scream. I returned to kind of some of the old, like OG Scream queens. For this one, honestly, I watched Back to the Future too, because there's a lot of sci-fi stuff that gets pulled. Yeah, which is really fun.
So you and Tree are like trusty steeds in the first. Is it the same in the second? Are you guys just as tight?
Yes and no. You know, I feel like the bond is definitely there. I feel like the sparks are there, the chemistry's there a little bit, but things are changed into a little bit of a complex interdimensional problem.
What was your favorite death?
Ooh. Well, all my favorite deaths were Tree's deaths. I mean,
you're all not mine, hers.
I mean, I think it was the first one where I got my neck cracked, and that was fun and horrifying to watch. I don't know. Chris threw a nice, realistic sound in there that just, I don't care to watch myself. But her with the Drano and skydiving was definitely incredible.
Did you ever want to play a villain in a horror film?
I kind of have.
Yeah? Wait, can you tell me really quick about that? You played a villain?
Yeah, it's actually another Blumhouse project. It's with Hulu's Into the Dark series. It's called All That We Destroy. Not going to give too much away, but basically it's about this geneticist whose son, she's trying to stop him from being a psychopath, serial killer, played by me, which was really interesting to film. I was excited. I was excited filming it and everything, and then I watched it, and I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done?
Duly noted. I will watch that. Thank you. I can't wait to see you tonight in the film.
Thank you.
We're in crisis mode, Tree. Who's gonna pledge Kappa now that we have a death curse?